The Brand Story Media recently organized the Indian Brand and Leadership Conclave 2022 on the theme of Embracing the Change, the New Normal. The conclave was marked with insightful keynotes delivered by nationally renowned personalities including Sri Fagan Singh Kolaste, Sri Kabir Bedi, Sri Vineet Goenka, Sri Sameep Shastri, and Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. The conclave saw power-packed panel discussions on Atmanirbhar Bharat and Data is the New Oil, and celebration of Indian brands and leaders with an award ceremony that honored brands and leaders under various categories.
Welcome and thank you for joining us in the latest episode of Indian Brand and Leadership Conclave.
So my question to the panelists here is, what are the two top human resource related challenges the Indian economy faced during this period, and how you were able to handle those challenges related to human resources? So I would request Unmesh Pawar sir to kindly answer this question.
So most organizations that had not walked down the whole digital journey, for them there was a big learning. So how do you get a workforce of about 27,000 people without a blip, active from day zero, right? Getting desktops to people's homes, getting laptops to people's homes, and in an environment where there was complete lockdown, transport was a challenge, trying to ship out stuff overnight was a big one. And I think the other one was really, how do you ensure you take care of the health of your employees in this entire thing? I think those were the two big things that organizations grappled with in the first wave. And then the third one connected with all of this was to say, how do you ensure that you continue to serve your clients without a blip? So I think those are the two or three big things that impacted most CHROs as they looked at business continuity from their organization standpoint.
You able to manage and
Oh, completely. I think if you look at most consult companies, they were on the ball, serving our clients. And if you look at, all reports say that productivity during COVID times only enhanced, right? People were sitting at home. We were working far more than what we would usually do because we were saving time in transport. Now, another school of thought could say people were insecure for their jobs and therefore they were burning the midnight oil because, to be fair, wave one, all organizations did an element of clean up and right sizing to be able to keep the economic, the organization from an economic standpoint on stage. So I think all organizations did a fab job of being able to manage it, at least the ones that had walked down the digital journey first.
positive side effect of the pandemic also could have, we all saw in the field of human resource. Wonderful. So my question to Mr. Manish Salhotra is, the governance and government practices evolved during the last 5 years countrywide. Yeah. What reforms will help accelerate the grassroots level implementation and success of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan? Or what governance bottlenecks may be stopping India from becoming a self-reliant economic superpower?
Yeah, so I would like to break the question. I would like to answer the first part of the question first. That how the governance from the government side has helped or has been an enabler under the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. So I think from the startups perspective and from the MSMEs perspective, there was a credit line given to the MSMEs of 20% of their complete exposure. And this was given without any extra paperwork or without any additional security or any collateral being pledged by the companies. I believe this was one scheme which really helped the MSMEs and the startups to survive through that time. And not just that, the government extended wave 1 of it, wave 2 of it, and I think wave 3 of that is still going on. So I believe this was one thing which was a great enabler for the startups and for the MSMEs to survive that wave of COVID through this Atmanirbhar Abhiyan program. Apart of that, I believe there is a change in mindset after COVID. And that push is also coming from the government side, as he rightly said, that people are okay working remotely now. In my startup, my R&D resources are not at my office now. Somebody is sitting in Chennai, somebody is sitting in Hyderabad, and they're working from their own places. We have designed or redefined ways of working, not just working in-house, also the way we are selling now, it has changed. Earlier, the meetings used to be in person. We used to meet people, show them the demos. Now, the virtual demo rooms have been made by us. And these virtual demo rooms are working 24/7. Since we work in different geographies, now we are available all the time. So yeah, so one thing is that the credit guarantee scheme from the government side, this was very much helpful. The change in mindset which is coming within the organization and from the government, this is the second thing. Yeah, I believe these are the two things which are very much helpful.
And I think with this latest technological upgradation which has happened due to pandemic, for example, I had a cousin of mine visiting near my place in Mumbai. So I told him, why don't you drop home for lunch or dinner, you know, whatever, whenever you get time. She said, I can't leave the place. I have to click a photograph with a geotag. Oh my God, I said, that is something very serious, you know, you really have to tell where you are and you are geotagged and you're followed. That means, oh my God, what level of intelligence are we going through? So I think pandemic has shown us new ways which can be really good and which can be dangerous also to some extent, right? And people are adopting to it.
So
Yes.
while this is a great thing, but I think there's a flip side of this, right?
Yes.
I think we are coming into an age where the generation today that's in the workforce is making a choice and they want to exercise that choice. Geotagging is a great idea, especially so if the individual is working on something very secure, very confidential, but any amount of scrutiny that you put on, at some point you are going to see a revolt by the workforce. So my request to all HR heads, HR folks is, your CEO may want it, your COO may want it because लोग काम कर रहे हैं कि नहीं मुझे जानना है. I think it's a great idea, but please also understand that these very people are going to walk on you the moment they know that they're being continuously pried on. Nobody wants to be pried on continuously. So I think it's a reality we have to confront very soon.
That's why I personally believe that right now the biggest threat we all are facing is artificial intelligence.
Yeah, let me answer the second part of it. The second part was what the framework. What was the second part? Yeah, the hindrances, right? I believe this Atmanirbhar Abhiyan started during Corona. I think somewhere in May 2020, but it should not stop with Corona. Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not only as a outcome of Corona. We should take it as a policy. It should not just stay as a Abhiyan, as a campaign. If I translate it in English, it should not stay as a campaign. It should become a policy. Because the startups of this country and the small companies, I'll talk more about startups since I I represent a startup. He can talk from the corporate's perspective. The startups are like babies, are like babies among the companies. We really need support from the government side. We really need that infrastructure. We really need that support which can help us to reach at a stage where we are comparable with the companies which are already established, or we are comparable with the corporates. So Atmanirbhar Abhiyan was one good thing which happened during Corona, but I believe and I really want that government should have it as a policy and not just as a campaign. Yeah.
Super. Thank you so much. So I just want to continue to what Umesh said, you know, that all the CEOs must not take technological upgradation so seriously and put pressure on their employees. So I just want to quote a joke here. There was a joke in between that a company went through a health checkup, and in that 200 employees, say 150 had abnormal BPs and 50 were normal BPs, and those 50 were fired, saying that you're not working properly, guys. Just go back home. So yes, it has to be taken care. The wellness of the employees also has to be taken care, and very important for the growth of an organization. So Shweta, the young budding youth icon and actor, welcome you here for the Brand Story panel discussion. So my question for you is, the Indian entertainment industry is what the world looks up to India, right? With the highest number of movies made and released globally and booming TV OTT is viewing per capita. The Indian industry is undoubtedly going places. How do you see the industry growth in the coming 5 years concerning to the flooding of the OTT content?
I think it's a boon because suddenly the expansion of the OTT content has given work to everyone out there. And also, you know, I think there is a myth that some people think that we may go through a crunch of talent, but rather it has suddenly become a boon, like I said, to everyone, because earlier a 20-year-old would do makeup and play a 80-year-old. Like, you know, in old times, like Anupam Kherji had played in his movie. He was a youth, but he was playing an old icon because that was how it is. And in today's time, thanks to OTT and so much performance out there and so much content being made out there, they don't really go ahead to make a 20-year-old, give him only the chance to play an 80-year-old. Today they cast a 80-year-old. They do not just cast an actor who can give the Haryanvi accent or a particular accent. They go out and they get a Haryanvi person who looks very natural, plays the act very more. So thanks to the OTT today, the entire cinema has spread wild. It's no more one particular language. All languages have become pan-India. Everything has become under one platform. Like, it's no more like, okay, you know, only Hindi cinema is doing this or Telugu cinema is doing this. Today, if we look at the kind of performances like KGF or whatever, we have 70% coming in only from the Telugu industry and 30% is Bollywood, Bhojpuri, Punjabi. So I think OTT has been a boon for all performers out here.
And also it is very comfortable to sit at home and watch, right? You don't need
Right.
to go
So even if
also.
you have to tag people sitting
Yes.
at the corporate thing, you can have entertainment at your own convenience.
Yes, yes. Wonderful. Thank you, Shweta, for that answer. Lovely answer. Now, my question for all the three panel members is same. What are the top 3 skills that the workers, managers, artists will need to prosper in the coming decade? Should I repeat the question?
Okay.
What are the top 3 skills that the workers, managers, artists will need to prosper in the coming decade?
I think at a broader level, it is obviously the human skills, digital skills, and behavioral skills because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what comprises of everything. But at a narrow level today, I think we all need to become illiterate because we are all in a millennial digital age. So we need to learn to upgrade ourselves with time because nowadays the machines, the softwares are upgrading at an epitome level. So we need to learn to be constantly changing with them. And also we need to digitally be convenient to, because earlier we used to like interact one-on-one. Today we are interacting with people all over the world. So I think majorly we need to become illiterate today. If we have that skill, we can conquer everything.
So learn and unlearn is what we really need to do, right?
True.
And something is really scary again regarding technology, what I want to say. When we start browsing the Facebook or the internet or Instagram, I have seen so many times, I think of something and that thing exactly occurs in front of you. So I feel, am I getting spied if I think of a gulab jamun? The gulab jamun appears in front of me. Actually, we all have faced this.
You actually
So what
are.
is this new threat? Is it a threat or is it a blessing or a boon?
I think everything is a blessing and a boon. You can make the algorithm match to your benefit. I would rather think, oh, I'm thinking of gulab jamun and I'm manifesting it in front of me and it is an act to eat it.
Data intelligence.
Totally.
Right?
Theta and data have become combined together.
Right, right. Yes.
So I believe especially after Corona and in the next decade, the behavioral aspect of skills is very important. For example, my team is not sitting together now. Mine is a company which does R&D into electronics. So earlier, the hardware team, the software team used to sit together and they used to find the solution of a bug together. And now what happens is that the hardware team will say, software team ko pata hoga kya dikkat hai. The software team will say, hardware wale ko pata hoga. They must have done some wrong thing in the soldering. So I believe inclusion in terms of understanding your team, behavioral aspects, sometimes it's about a person. Like I know one resource in my company will always throw buck on the other person that software wale ko to pata hai ki hardware ka hi problem hai. So I think understanding your problem, understanding the cultural things. I'm fortunate enough to have people from across the country. Like there's one person from Kerala, there's one person from Indore, there's one person who will give who does 5-time namaz in my company. So we need to understand these things, especially when they're not sitting with you. He might be doing his stuff when he's not responding to your messages or emails. So we really need to be, I think we are good at technical skills now as a country, as youth, but we need to nurture ourselves more in the behavioral aspects. I think HR's word would be the best on this.
That's why HR said final word will be mine. You all get done.
Not really, not. I think you guys have said all the right things. But I think just to keep the thread on, I think what the pandemic has proved to us is organizations that thrived were ones that had cognitive agility. Organizations that were very agile to respond to what the client needs were, change their business model, change their operating model, change their structures. And in that light, for us as humans, we realized that 80-year-old grandparents, 85-year-old grandparents, which were all using those simple small phones, had migrated through the pandemic onto a smartphone, because that was the only way they could be in touch with their children in the US or grandchildren somewhere, right? And I think that agility is going to be a way of life, and we have to get used to it. Connected with that is this whole thing about, we're talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, is this whole thing about continuous learning. I think we need to forget the day that college chhut gaya, bas ab ho gaya, padhai khatam. I don't think that is true. We all have to embrace the fact that every couple of years, we have to make it a to-do on ourselves, that we have to pick up a new skill. Otherwise, trust me, we are going to be redundant. So all conversation about inclusivity is good to have, but as individuals, we need to make the effort that the organization will include us. And to be included, you need to have the skills. I think that's the connected point. The third one, I think, is really about, whilst technology does all that you said, right? I think those of you using smartphones today, you know that Siri's become much more smarter and much more India-centric, because she's listening to what you're talking continuously, right? And that's how Siri's got tuned. The algorithm has got tuned. So, of course, algorithms, AI, machine learning will do everything that's required for the Internet of Things to really be made customizable to you. But the fact of the matter is, the human skills are what you and I bring to the table.
Yes.
And I think we should not forget humanity. And we need to continue to harness that and let nothing, technology not divide us, right? I think that's a strength.
Wonderful.
We need to figure out a way to say, we got to stay connected as humans, and we got to do the right thing to keep this planet healthy.
Emotional intelligence. Thank you so much. I think very good insights we all got from all the three panel members here. Thank you, Mr. Unmesh Pawar. Thank you, Mr. Monish Salhotra. And thank you, Shweta, for joining here. And we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching today's episode of India's Brand and Leadership Conclave. We will be back with yet another episode of Leading Brands and Leaders of the Nation. Until then, take care and stay tuned.